You are with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama. We are getting you a pan-India view of nationwide protests that have broken out. 10 were planned to begin with. Currently, we're looking at about 19 protests across India against the Citizenship Amendment Act, Section 144, that has been imposed, though, across cities, across entire states. This includes Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, certain parts of Delhi. Protesters have been detained across the country as well. This includes Delhi, this includes Bengaluru, Samajwadi Party leaders detained in Lucknow, opposition leaders detained in Delhi.
खासकर गरीब आदमी चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म का हो, सब लोग इस टाइम डरे हुए हैं। इस कानून से कुछ भी हासिल नहीं हो रहा। मेरी हाथ जोड़ के अपील है सभी केंद्र सरकार से कि इस कानून को इस टाइम लाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है।
And we have the right to protest, right to express our dissent.
I mean, we are here to assert our democratic rights.
And you're going to stay here today, sir?
Of course I'm going to stay here. Of course I'm going to stay here. I'm going nowhere.
डॉक्यूमेंट के आधार पर देश में लोगों की नागरिकता नहीं तय की जा सकती।
I sincerely urge and appeal all the political parties, leaders and people in general to maintain calm on the issue. CAA does not discriminate people on the basis of religion. Citizenship is accorded on the basis of their nationality, not on the basis of religion or caste.
इसको लेके दिल्ली की भी और देश की भी आज पूरे देश के अंदर, केवल दिल्ली नहीं पूरे देश के अंदर आज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की स्थिति खराब होती जा रही है, दिन ब दिन बिगड़ती जा रही है, जिसको लेके मैं बहुत ज़्यादा चिंतित हूँ। खासकर गरीब आदमी चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म का हो, सब लोग इस टाइम डरे हुए हैं। इस कानून से कुछ भी हासिल नहीं हो रहा। मेरी हाथ जोड़ के अपील है सभी केंद्र सरकार से कि इस कानून को इस टाइम लाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है।
This is big breaking news coming in. This is connected to a protest that we've seen earlier. This was in Aligarh. The Allahabad High Court now, in fact, has issued a notice to the UP government. This is regarding alleged police atrocities on AMU students, Aligarh University students, during the latest protest there that has been on in Aligarh here as well. Remember, there have been various testimonies of students who've been injured, of police allegedly barging in to campus, switching off electricity connection, firing tear gas shells there, and injuring students in that as well. Several have sustained fractures and massive injuries here as well. These are the allegations there of police excess in Aligarh. The Allahabad High Court has issued now a notice to the UP government over these allegations. We have with us senior correspondent Amir Haq getting us those details here. Amir, what all of the testimonies that has been taken into account for the Allahabad High Court now to issue this notice to the UP government? How much time for the UP government to respond to this?
Well, so far, this is only in the form of a petition which was filed in the Allahabad High Court, raising concerns about the manner in which police brutally attacked several students in Aligarh Muslim University around the time the anti-CAA and NRC protests were taking place on the university campus. Now, there are grave allegations against the administration, government and the police of having colluded and attacked the students inside their hostel very brutally. In fact, several instances of tear gas shells being fired inside hostel rooms of students has also been cited before the High Court. The High Court has definitely taken cognizance of these reports, especially cited by the petition, and has sought a reply from the UP government in the next 2 weeks. Now, the next date of hearing has been posted for the 6th of January 2020. But definitely an embarrassing moment for the UP government and especially for the administration of the Aligarh Muslim University, because it quite expressly had allowed administration to intervene and allowed the police force to enter the AMU campus and especially inside the hostels where students residing.
Right. That's right. A lot for the UP government to respond, the police and the AMU administration, as you point out here on this here as well. Amir, help us understand the kind of protest now that we are looking at today across Uttar Pradesh, because there is Section 144 which is imposed across the entire state of Uttar Pradesh in the face of multiple city protests that are taking place. We have heard of detentions that have taken place in Lucknow. Take us through the inputs on the other cities protesting and what's happening.
Well, there are sporadic reports of protesters gathering. In fact, it almost looks like a guerrilla kind of protest by most of such protesters. There has been lathi charge on members of the Samajwadi Party. Samajwadi Party workers had gathered outside the district magistrate's office at the collectorate in state capital Lucknow to hand over a memorandum to the district magistrate. But around the time they were dispersing, the agitated crowd was lathi charged by the police to disperse the Samajwadi Party workers there. There are also reports of arson from Sambhal near Muradabad, wherein a bus has been set on fire by miscreants there and perhaps some protesters as well. So although the focus remained on the protest that was planned at 2 p.m. at the Parivartan Chowk area in central Lucknow, but protesters failed to converge out here because of the heavy police deployment that has already been in place. Section 144, as you rightly said, is in place in all the 75 districts of Uttar Pradesh, and the police and administration were especially vigilant about the protest that was planned in state capital Lucknow. The IG and Commissioner Zone have been very vigilant. They've been personally present and taking rounds continuously with the police force, and therefore perhaps the police's presence has proved to be a deterrent for most such protesters, several of whom did try to come near Parivartan Chowk, but they were either shooed away by the police or several of them were picked up and arrested by the police. So far, no reports of massive protests from across Uttar Pradesh, but let me tell you, the reports are still being filed. At number of places, protesters are still trying to gather. In fact, we just moments back got report about massive protest in the Khadra area on the outskirts of Lucknow leading towards Sitapur. So it still remains to be seen as to what finally is the status of protest at the end of the day.
All right, because these is news inputs trickling in from across the entire state of Uttar Pradesh. The visuals on your screens are one such protest, one such sporadic protest here in the area of Sambhal. As we can see, the police there on ground trying to rein in the situation, public property that has been vandalized as well. This is the update now that's coming in from Uttar Pradesh. Remember, Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka are those two states which have Section 144 imposed across the entire state. We are now getting in, switching focus on inputs coming in from Bengaluru in Karnataka. Several protesters, and this includes prominent historian and writer Ramchandra Guha, was also detained by the police earlier today. Our correspondent Neha is getting us further details here. Neha, where are you currently? And which particular place at this point is witnessing protests where you're standing right now?
Well, yes, Seher, in fact, we're here at Town Hall. We've actually come atop a building to show you a 360-degree view of the protests and, to give our viewers an understanding of what is happening right there on ground. Yes, these are over 1,000 to 1,500 protesters who've actually gathered over here today, voicing their protest against the CAA or the Citizenship Amendment Act. And now, also important to remember that this comes at a time when Section 144 has already been imposed across the state of Karnataka as, a blanket. These are not pockets or these are not certain districts. It's across the whole state. And in the capital city also, of Bengaluru, we saw how people were being detained from the morning, yes. And more importantly, they were actually being taken away in buses. Amongst those detained was a prominent face of Mr. Ramchandra Guha, historian and writer. And even now, what we're actually seeing is how they've actually blocked, the approach road towards Town Hall, which is the heart of the city, owing to which, traffic has actually been affected. Traffic moving going towards Town Hall has actually been affected because the road itself is blocked with all of these protesters who've just, decided to sit down and take to the streets. So yes, from the morning we've seen about 250-300 people being detained at least, and what the police are now going to be able to do with this crowd that's gathered actually remains to be seen.
Right, but Neha, it's important to note this is happening at a time when protesters on ground are aware. They're well aware in what the state has asked them to not gather in beyond 3, beyond 4 people together. There is Section 144, which has been imposed not just in certain cities or pockets, but across the entire state. So these are protesters on ground hitting the streets in thousands and lakhs, knowing fully aware that there is Section 144 imposed, and yet they're out there to put their point across in this protest.
Well, that's right, Sahar. Just one look at this and you'll realize that, even Section 144 has actually not gone on to deter these protesters who've actually, come out in large numbers. A good about 1,500 of them now, at least another, good 300, 400 in the morning, taking the count up to, almost about 2,000 protesters just in Bengaluru. Now, even in other parts of the state, we've been showing you how, despite the imposition of Section 144, despite police actually using full force, lathi charging the protesters, they have decided just not to move, just sit down, make their demands heard loud and clear. And this is something, that is going to continue even at a time as when, of course, the Chief Minister of the state, Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa, has actually gone on to maintain that, yes, these are protests that have actually, been organized by the opposition. But on the contrary, yes, it is imperative to remember that you have protesters over here who are students, who are activists, who are citizens, and anyone who's basically voicing their concern against this protest.
Neha, are detentions still happening? Because earlier today we had seen the Bengaluru police there detaining protesters. We saw how Ramchandra Guha was also pulled in and taken in by the police. But given the large crowd of the numbers that you're getting us from this bird's eye view in Town Hall, are detentions still happening?
Yes, Sahar. Yes. Yes, Sahar, of course, detentions are still currently underway, but what, in fact, if I can show you in terms of detention is, in fact, buses that have actually been kept over here on standby. All of these police vans, 1, 2, 3, there are at least about a good, 7 to 10 police vans that have been kept here. A water cannon has also, just been called. Of course, it's not been used yet, but it has been left here on standby. And the protesters, of course, only growing in numbers here. They refuse to actually move from here. This is despite, yes, an assembly of 4 people not being allowed in one place. But now it's going to be interesting to see, what the police does. Because at least in the morning, you had much smaller groups that were coming to protest and being detained and being taken away. But this is a much, much larger group. And possibly even to, detain them, the police will have to start from one end, arriving to the other end. So whether or not that's actually going to happen, considering that, they've actually been sitting on the road for more than an hour and a half, it's actually something that remains to be seen. They were trying to, hold some sort of negotiations also with the DCP of the Central Division a little while earlier. But it seems like the police have, in fact, actually given in, and actually the protests have continued, Sahir.
Neha, stay on with us. We will continue taking in inputs from what you're getting us from Bengaluru. We're going across to other cities here as well. And what's happening in the border areas of Delhi. There is a massive traffic jam currently. These are breaking inputs in the latest that's coming in as far as Gurugram is concerned and the Delhi border. And the jam is because the police is checking vehicles which are entering the national capital. There will be no more protesters who would be allowed to enter Delhi. All incoming traffic into Delhi, starting from Gurugram, where vehicles are being checked, will not be allowed. To what extent is this check taking place? Does this mean this is just a check or slowing down or entirely stopping of traffic? Those are images of absolute traffic jams at the toll plaza there. The image of Gurugram that we are sending you, that we're playing out on your screens. Our correspondent Kangana getting us those details. Kangana, take us through the inputs on what the police has informed us here on this. Why exactly this checking is taking place? Or is this checking, screening, or altogether stopping incoming traffic to Delhi?
Well, of course, it's a really bad picture that is being shown on the screens right now. This is a picture where the traffic is flowing from from Gurgaon to Delhi region, shot from Mint Mall and Radisson Blue Hotel. These pictures are aerial shots of what exactly is happening on the NH8 highway, which is connecting Gurgaon and Delhi border area. On one end, what the Gurgaon traffic police is right now doing, since morning 8:15 the screening started, they have placed barricades on all the rows of the highways. There are 12 rows from where the traffic can pass one way from Gurgaon to Delhi, but only one row is functioning. The rest 11 rows have been blocked completely by barricades. What the Gurgaon traffic police is right now doing since 8:15 in the morning, they are only allowing one single vehicle to pass at a point of time where at least 50 to 60 vehicles can pass from that broad highway, which is the broadest highway in the Delhi NCR region.
All right. So Kangana, what's essentially being done is slowing down incoming traffic to Delhi. This is a process of slowing down. It's not a process of stopping traffic altogether. Because how does one screen a potential protester? IDs would be checked, number plates, cars would be screened and checked, but every vehicle is being allowed to go through. Do we understand that right?
What exactly is happening? The Gurgaon police is basically making sure that any car which is carrying more than 2 passengers, they are asking the passengers why they are going to Delhi. If they have to go to an office, they have to show their ID cards. So if any car which is carrying more than 2 passengers, that car is being thoroughly checked, whether these could be possible protesters who are going to join various number of protests that are happening across Delhi. Because remember, the only situation that is arising for the Delhi police is to, they're finding it difficult to control the number of protesters who are pouring in the state of Delhi. So which is why there are messages being circulated on WhatsApp to join in protest and solidarity with the protest which is against the CAA. So all these protesters from Gurugram, from Rewari, from all these neighboring areas in Delhi who have been asked to join the protest in Delhi's Jantar Mantar area and Lal Killa area. So all these protesters are now being screened and properly checked. Any passenger, any car carrying more than 2 passengers are being thoroughly checked, and only one car at a point of time is being allowed to cross the Delhi-Gurgaon border.
Right. Kangana, this is something that you're reporting from Gurgaon at the Delhi border, but is this happening all around Delhi? Are we looking at the same scenario in Noida as well? Are cars being screened in a similar manner?
Well, as of now, all the borders which are connecting Delhi, all the borders are being checked right now. There's another border which connects Gurgaon and Delhi. That's the MG Road border from Chhatarpur, MG Road and Munirka. All these borders have also been stopped. There is heavy barricading at that area also, right below the Chhatarpur metro station, where barricades have been placed and people are being asked why are they entering Delhi or what's the reason for them to go to Delhi, because remember that is a residential area. As compared to NH8, the Munirka border is a residential area which is also being checked so that most of the students of JNU can enter either through Vasant Vihar or through Munirka, and all these areas have been checked. So not only Gurgaon Delhi borders, but all the borders have been thoroughly checked so that the protesters could be stopped from entering the state right now.
Kangana, many thanks for getting us those details. Of course, this being a huge inconvenience to people. Remember, Delhi and neighboring satellite towns of the Delhi NCR area where traffic freely moves in and out. People living across, working across would be a huge inconvenience, as is evident in these images here that Kangana is sending us. Let's in fact take a listen into some more reactions that have come in, that have continued to come in since morning in the wake of these nationwide protests.
I sincerely urge and appeal all the political parties, leaders and people in general to maintain calm on the issue. CAA does not discriminate people on the basis of religion. Citizenship is accorded on the basis of their nationality, not on the basis of religion or caste.
देखिए वो तो चीफ मिनिस्टर आपको बताएंगे, क्योंकि हमारी जो भूमिका है हमने तो पार्लियामेंट में रखा है और सारे जहां पर हमारे स्टेट्स है, हमारी पार्टी है, जो कुछ कहना है हमने तो स्पष्ट कह दिया है।
Let's also get you inputs now that are coming in. We're going to get you the latest as far as the Jantar Mantar area of Delhi is concerned. Remember, protests that started today from Mandi House. A lot of people, a lot of protesters were detained because there is Section 144 that is imposed in this area of Delhi. Certain protesters have managed to walk across and gather in at Jantar Mantar. So these are the images. These are the thousands of protesters who've now gathered in to join in these protests at Jantar Mantar. These are the latest of the images of protest here. Live inputs coming in of students gathering in and other protesters here at Jantar Mantar. Our correspondent Priyank is getting us further inputs here on these protests here now as well. Priyank, if my voice is going through, please go ahead. Take us through those inputs here. Given that these are groups and protesters that have managed to gather in despite detentions that have taken place this morning, despite Section 144, which is in and around this area.
Here. Now, there's a large gathering which is here. The call of the protest has been given to several people because the cell towers were only stopped at few of the locations, and since the mobile network was operating at other locations, the students of various universities have started coming here. This is a top angle view of this Jantar Mantar, which shows that how their number of gathering has increased. There's a police presence on both sides of the road, on both the carriageway of the Jantar Mantar, which has also not been able to stop them. Section 144 has been imposed by the Delhi police officials, but instead of that, the anti-CAA protest in the national capital has taken such a huge number. How many people are present here? It's very difficult to calculate. From here till the end, from where Parliament Street police station starts, we can see that thousands of these people, those students who have been protesting since more than a week time, have managed to come here. The assembly is increasing, and what we are expecting that this certainly can go for so long time. This is which is being anticipated. There's no call from the Delhi police that they will be using some kind of forceful route to remove these people from here. Back to you.
Right, Priyank, continue getting us those images here. Remember, this is one of the other stops that the protesters have made, which was at Jantar Mantar in Delhi, after not being allowed to gather in other areas which were allocated, which was Shaheen Bagh, which was Red Fort, which was Mandi House, having marched through and now gathered in at Jantar Mantar. But the impact of these protests, the manner in which people have outnumbered the police despite heavy police bandobast on ground in Delhi. The fallout of this being that several metro stations in Delhi have been sealed. Entry-exit points that were shut. It was earlier 14 metro stations, but the number has gone up. These are breaking inputs coming in right now as we speak. There are 18 metro stations of Delhi now that have been closed. The entry and exit of 18 metro stations in Delhi now being closed. This is a very clear sign here of the area of protest on Delhi, in Delhi, which has increased as well. The radius of protest having increased as well. These are precautionary measures here that have been taken in. Remember, the Twitter handle of the Delhi Metro has been active since morning in informing commuters here of which stations are operational, on which station the entry-exit points have been sealed, wherein which passengers would not be allowed to get in and get out. This is a security measure being taken, and today Right now, there are 18 metro stations of Delhi which are shut as we speak. We're slipping into a very tiny breather, but the focus on these pan-India protests here continue.